back to my channel and welcome back to Vlogmas. I was just about to get ready and I thought we'd sit down and get ready together and I would tell you a little bit about myself. I don't think I've ever sat down and just introduced myself. I now have 360 something subscribers, which is a lot of people, and I know that if I am subscribing to someone, I want to kind of know a little bit about them. And obviously you can gather a lot from my videos, especially my vlogs and stuff about me, but I've never just said what kind of led me up to where I'm at today. And yeah, so I thought I would just tell you about myself a little bit. I'm in my living room because I have my little December makeup bag. It's nice to have it all, you know, together and everything, so I can basically do my makeup from wherever I want to. So everything I'm using is going to be from my December makeup bag. I have a video on it and what is all in there, and I can link that video, so if you're just wondering, then you can watch that video. I did want to mention I've been using my ColourPop Pretty Fresh tinted moisturizer because I threw it in my December makeup bag to use, and I forgot how pretty this is. It's really nice, and I feel like it has a really perfect amount of coverage. It's just, I've been kind of blown away at how pretty it is. So I just wanted to mention that quick if you're looking for an affordable tinted moisturizer. It has hyaluronic acid in it as well, so super hydrating too. So where do I start? So I grew up in a really small town in Minnesota. Went to, you know, elementary, middle, high school there, and then I went to college in this city in Wisconsin. It's called La Crosse, Wisconsin. I feel like it's large enough that I can say that. It's definitely a city, definitely bigger than where I grew up, but still decently small. But it is a really cute, more historic town, and it has a really good college. So I went to the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse then, and I got my bachelor's in business management. My dad owned a business. He's now retired, but owning businesses has always kind of been in my blood, and I've always wanted to own my own business. There wasn't really anything else I was interested in besides. I really wanted to do fashion merchandising as well, but La Crosse didn't have that program, and at the time I was not sure what I really wanted to do. I knew I wanted to own a business someday, but I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I had no plan other than that. So fashion was just always something that I really loved and was really passionate about. I got best dressed in high school. I just loved fashion, and I still do. So I tried to look into that program, but yeah, they didn't have it there. I wasn't ready to explore other towns or anything. I didn't really want to move away yet, so I wasn't interested in it enough to move somewhere else to do it. And like I said, La Crosse is a really good school as well, so it was the only place I applied for college. I was just not really caring much. I kind of had this feeling what is meant to be will be. Obviously it made me kind of nervous, but I was very unsure of what I wanted to do with my life. Honestly, I still am unsure. I've never ever been one of those people that knew exactly what they wanted to do. So when everyone was super, you know, in high school, they always asked you what you want to do with your life and what do you want to, are you going to college? What do you want to go to college for? I was just kind of I don't really, I care, but I don't know what I want to do. And I also never thought that my dreams were ever super traditional. I've never been a very traditional person, and I've never really gone with the crowd. I feel like, I don't know if it's like a Virgo thing or whatever, but I don't like if everyone else is doing something, I don't like doing it. Like I don't, and it's not just like, oh, everyone else likes it so I don't. It's not like that. It's just like, I just never got into the things that a lot of people deemed as like normal or like fun or whatever. Like I like to make my own fun, do my own thing, and I really don't care like what other people are doing. I'm not gonna go along with them. Anyway, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I always said I wanted to own a business, so I went for business management in La Crosse. I was always into makeup from like end of high school on. Surprisingly, I was one of those people that didn't start wearing makeup until I was like, I don't know, 16. Like all my friends and everyone started wearing makeup, started wearing at least like mascara, eyeliner, like foundation, whatever. And I, for the longest time, went barefaced. I wasn't quite sure yet if that was like included in who I was. I think for the longest time I was worried that that was gonna alter me too much and I wasn't gonna look like myself. But ever since then, ever since like high school, then I started wearing makeup and then like really got into it. And I got into it because of YouTube. I used to watch YouTubers and that's where I learned everything. My sisters, I have 2 older sisters. That's my 2 only siblings. And obviously they wore makeup, but they were never into it the way I was. And my mom wasn't either. I mean, obviously they all wore it, but no one was like, you know, getting excited to go to Ulta and Sephora like I was. So I definitely like didn't have them to learn from. So YouTube was always the place that I watched tutorials, and that's literally where I fell in love with makeup. So I worked at a couple like restaurants growing up, in high school, in college. I always had a job in college, and I also worked like 2 to 3 jobs a lot. It took me a while, I feel like, to get my first job. Like I think I got my first job when I was 16, and I felt like that was kind of like late. Like I was getting older in high school and stuff, and I was just like super nervous to get a job, and I feel like I held off for like a little bit. But then once I got my first job, I basically like never stopped working. So after that, a lot of times I had like multiple jobs at once. In high school, I worked at a restaurant and I worked at a wedding planner, which is still one of my favorite jobs ever. Helped like plan weddings and set them up and work the day of, like make sure everything goes smoothly and tear down. It was like literally so fun. Planning events is still something that like is in my head of being something I would really enjoy doing. And then I think I just was like sick of working in restaurants. I quit the restaurant, and then I remember the day I went into Ulta and I was literally just shopping. Like I wasn't even expecting to do this, but I was checking out and I asked the girl, like I still know the girl to this day, and I was like, are you hiring? And she's like, yeah. And then we're talking a little bit, and then she said to send in my application online and that she'll like, you know, mention it to the manager that like she met me and that the manager should look at my application and stuff. So yeah, shortly after I got a job at Ulta, and that was literally such a fun job. It was so fun to be around makeup all the time. The only thing that got exhausting was obviously working in retail. The pay's not great, the hours suck, and then dealing with customers. Obviously some people can be like really amazing, but it gets exhausting to have to deal with customers, especially if they're crabby. But yeah, Ulta was super fun. I was just a cashier at first and like just on the floor, like stocking, doing truck, whatever. And then I eventually became a lead cashier, which was like just a little bit more responsibility. You kind of led the like team up at the cashiers. I think you had like codes for the safe and stuff, if I remember right. So you could get change in there if you needed. So just a little bit more responsibility. In between there, I graduated college. I, in my mind, thought that I had to get like a 9-to-5 job like everyone else was. And so I very much so pushed myself to get a full-time job, even though like I loved Ulta, but I just knew that like working retail in the position that I was in wasn't like a, you know, a career. It was, you know, my college job. So I had a few different jobs that I would not fully quit Ulta. I would just stay on 1 day a week. So during this whole time, I always worked at Ulta at least 1 day a week. I never like quit fully or anything. I don't think, at least. But first job out of college was at a clothing store in La Crosse. I was like the office manager. The job was cool. The clothes were amazing. It felt so good at the time and so like meant to be, because working with fashion was one of the things that I was interested in. And I definitely learned a lot. I learned a lot of skills. Like I actually did a lot at that job. Like it was a very like all-encompassing job. Like there's a lot of different responsibilities. But all I'm gonna say is that job traumatized the actual hell out of me. Like and yeah, just let's just say like the person I was working with, I guess, and the hours, the working conditions, like literally the conditions, like surroundings, like my actual office, things like that, and the overall like vibe and attitude there, and then mix it with my people-pleasing, always up for any kind of job attitude, and also the just got out of college, I thought this is how it should be, and I thought I'm just gonna obviously try to prove myself and try to do everything that was asked, even if I was overworked and completely losing myself in it. So lasted there like 6 months, which was way too long. I think part of the trauma from it honestly was like the fact that I stuck through it so long. If I would have saw the red flags and maybe quit earlier, then it wouldn't have been so bad afterwards. But the fact that I stuck it out and everyone around me was telling me to quit because I was so unhappy, and I just stuck around because I just like wouldn't give up. Like literally the amount of determination I have sometimes is so detrimental. But there's actually this one girl that started working there that really helped me. But she said that I don't know if she read or knew from someone or whatever, that if you're in like a depressed state for like 6 months or a long period of time or whatever, it's harder to get over it, and you start becoming stuck in that like depressed state because you're in it for so long. So I feel like that's kind of what happened, is like it was very hard to get over, and I'm still literally getting over the trauma from it. Like I'm not being dramatic, like I'm being completely honest. Like I'm still dealing with working there. Like but I feel like that's what happened, is I stayed so long and I was so unhappy for so long, and I wouldn't get myself out of it, and like kind of let myself down, because like I should have for myself and my sanity, should have left long before I did, but I ignored all of it and just like tried to do it. And so that really like bit me in the ass later on, and still is. But anyway, I was still working at Ulta during that time, like I said. So then I finally quit. Like, I don't know what finally came to me, like, but I finally did it. I just like completely had enough. I don't even think there was one breaking point. I think I just finally convinced myself that like, you deserve better than this. So so then I just picked up more hours at Ulta. So I quit that place, picked up more hours at Ulta. I was just working there for a little bit. I also got this one job that I literally was there for like 2 days because it was like a customer service on the phone job. Basically, I knew that it wasn't for me. Full well knew it wasn't for me, but again, I had this idea that like I had to have a 9 to 5 job because everyone else did. Even though I knew that like it wasn't right and I felt like I was forcing it, I still was like, the opportunity came up for me, and I knew someone that worked there, so it was very easy to get a job. So I worked there and very clearly right away knew it wasn't for me. I knew already going in. Also like the benefits and everything, the health insurance, dental insurance, whatever, was all very like, looked very nice. But ultimately I'm one of those people that like, if I know it's not for me, I'm not gonna do it. And I think I also know myself so well that I can pretty much tell right away if something's good for me or not. And it's just a matter of listening to that. So this time I actually did. It was really hard because I felt like I was gonna let people down, especially the person that I knew that worked there. But yeah, that was not a good time. But this time at least I did, you know, listen to myself. And then I decided I'm not gonna keep forcing things. I'm just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna go take day to day and stop rushing and forcing myself to get this big girl job that just doesn't feel right to me yet. So I went back to Ulta, and again, I was still working there. Like, I never ever quit, but I picked up more hours, and then eventually one of the management positions opened up, and that's when I applied and got a management position there. So it's just like everything works out if you just let it work out. At the time, the management position was not full-time. It was like a part-time manager. So it wasn't like 40 hours a week, it wasn't benefits or anything, but I was like, I'm just gonna take this, we're gonna see where it leads, you know? And I'm gonna stop forcing things and just, at least to me, I felt like that was a little better. Obviously I got like a raise. It was a position that I did like look over people looked up to me. Like, you know, I always said I wanted to own a business, so it was kind of in the realm of that. I went to school for business management, so to actually be in a management role, I felt a lot better about it, even though it wasn't full-time. So during that time, I was interested in esthetician school. Since my job wasn't full-time, I had time to go to school. And then a program at like a more tech school was so much cheaper, the program they had, than going to like a beauty school or like a full college or whatever. Their like esthetician program I could get done in like 6 months. It was a fraction of the price to go. I just had to drive like a half an hour every morning, which kind of sucked, but it was doable, and for the money that I was like saving on it and everything, I thought it was worth it. I don't ever think I fully wanted to like be an esthetician full time and like do facials all day, do waxing all day, whatever. You never know, maybe eventually I will, but I never really went to school to like do that as a career. I did it so that I could have knowledge of it, have the license so that people would like trust me, and just like the backing of it. And again, it was like a fraction of the price. So to me, how like cheap it was worth at least just like gaining the knowledge, even if I wasn't gonna fully do that for like my full-time job. I was interested in it, so I went ahead and did it. So at this time I had to be there at I think 8 a.m. every morning. I think I went Monday through Friday. So I would get up super early. I keep getting lipstick sticks on my like Invisalign retainers, so much easier than just like my teeth. So yeah, I was getting up really early every single morning, go to class pretty much all day. Should I add a little bit more blush? Sure, why not? Then after, I would pretty much go straight to Ulta and work. So I was really like busy, wearing myself out. Like honestly, when I look back, I'm like, how did I do that? Like I was running around like a literal chicken with my head cut off for a while. And then in the midst of this, the pandemic hits and we have to do schooling at home and we couldn't go into class. How do you do esthetician stuff when you're not like working on people? Like you have to, the way it works is you have to have an amount of hours. I think it was 600 hours or something. I don't remember fully, but it was a lot of hours that you had to get in order to get your license. So I had to be working on people for an amount of time before I could get my license. And like, how do you do that when you can't go into class? Like you can't really do esthetician school at home. But they tried to make it work. We had to do a lot of like mannequin things, and yeah, we did like a lot of book work, but that prolonged the amount of time it took to get my license then, which just like whatever, it all worked out. But it was supposed to be like a quick thing that I could do in 6 months, and it ended up being like, I mean, I think a year at least long by the time I actually got my license. And then also in the meantime, my position, Ulta made my management position a full-time position. So again, I let things happen, and I felt like I just went with my heart a little bit more than I did before. And I suddenly, you know, had a full-time management position, which was like right up my alley at a makeup store. So fun. So yeah, that kind of fell into my lap. My position was now full-time with benefits, all that. I was super thankful. I was like so happy. I was like, finally, like stuff's happening, you know? Like I went through all this and finally I feel like things are working out. So, but I had to finish. It was kind of hard because I had to like, I was rushing to finish my esthetician's license. And then we finally could come back to school. I like worked nonstop to get my hours in. Every single like person I could get in, like friends, family, whatever, I was like, please come drive up and let me do a facial on you, let me do a brow wax on you, makeup application, whatever, so I can get my hours in and be done and be able to work full time and not like I barely, you know, I was running out of time in my day. So yeah, I finished finally, got my degree, worked full-time at Ulta for a while. It was great, whatever. Towards the end of it, I started getting really sick of retail. I mean, I'm pretty sure anyone that works in retail can like knows what that feeling's like. I got really, like, I'm already an introvert, and I got really exhausted with working with people. I also was worried that there wasn't a huge amount of advancement in the place I was at, because no one like above me was on their way out or anything. Like, I kind of felt like I was stuck, and I am definitely not the most patient person. I want things to like happen. Like, I don't like sitting at one place for a while. So meanwhile, I always did want to like move away. I didn't really care to where. I just didn't want to be in the same place that I grew up and went to college in and whatever. Like I always wanted to move to a different city. So my boyfriend and I got the opportunity a year and a half ago now to come to Madison, Wisconsin and both work for a startup. We're like, why not? We're both kind of feeling like maybe our time has run out here. We wanted to explore other places to live, kind of get out of where we've always been. So yeah, we kind of just decided like, let's try it out, let's move. So we did. So we moved here, both worked at that startup for a while, and then they lost funding. So the startup is no longer. We both lost our jobs. There was other things that kind of, it wasn't like a stopping point. Like there was other things that we could have, there was other opportunities that we could have taken advantage of. It wasn't just like, bye guys, like you're done, like you're out of here, good luck. There was other things that we could take up and try to do. So my boyfriend did kind of like work at some of the opportunities that kind of came out of that, I feel like. But I was very confused at this time, unhappy. It was weird being here. Not working in beauty was like weird for me. I felt very like, just not feeling like I was supposed to be there, whatever. I honestly kind of had like a little mental breakdown in between, like just things were happening, lots of things, like the aftermath of the pandemic as well. So things were just weird and I just wasn't in a good place. So instead of taking on anything else, I decided to take a breather for a sec, like work on myself for a little bit, figure out what the next thing I wanted to do was. There were like basically 3 things that if anyone ever asked me like what I want to do, these would be my answers. One of them was I always wanted to own a business. Another one was I always wanted a YouTube channel. And another one was I wanted to get more into fitness and just like at least go like to the gym and stuff. Like I didn't want to get crazy about it. I just wanted to be healthier and gain more knowledge around it. Like I very much so like had no idea what the heck I was doing. So I feel like after kind of like being really unhappy for a while and kind of having like a mental breakdown, honestly, I was like, why am I not just doing the things I always said that I wanted to do? So I kind of decided, like, I was kind of at this point of like being fed up with not listening to myself and not doing things that like I felt in my heart I wanted to do. So at that point I was like, literally F this, like I'm gonna just create what I want. Like I'm gonna actually do things that like when I look forward in my life to my life and my future, like things that I actually want, like what I actually want it to look like. Like I was almost to this breaking point of like just over my own shit basically, and yeah, I just was like, there's no time but the present. At the time I was 26, 25, 26. And I was like, I'm so young, who cares? Like, literally, who cares? Who cares if I don't have a perfect plan? Who cares if I don't feel like I'm completely ready yet? Like, who cares? Just do it. Like, literally, one foot in front of the other, just do it. Just do whatever you keep saying you want to do. Because I knew that later on, if I didn't do any of these things, I would probably regret it and always wonder what it would be like if I did just do it. So after like, I think it was like a month or 2 of kind of like recovering from being really unhappy here, I started my YouTube channel. I started on my 26th birthday. And I finally just did it. It was embarrassing to, because I knew my first couple of videos were gonna be awful, and I knew it was gonna take a long time to get comfortable in front of the camera, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing, like, but it is true when people just say, just do it, like, you just have to do it. None of it matters. The quality doesn't even matter. If you don't know how to edit, doesn't even matter. Like, with anything, if you don't know how to do it, none of that matters. What matters is just going ahead and doing it. So yeah, I finally started my YouTube channel. I was sick of saying it. I was sick of saying I wanted it and not doing it. And mind you, it's been like 10 years since I've been saying that I wanted to be on YouTube. Because like I said, I learned like everything that I knew about makeup from watching other people. So I always wanted my own channel to kind of continue that and connect with others and like be a resource for others and stuff like that. So, you know, after 10 years, I finally started my YouTube channel. And then at like pretty much the same time, I launched my small business as well. It's just resin rings, so it's just like a jewelry business. But it's mine and I can do whatever the heck I want to do with it. And I am getting experience in how to run a business, and I learn things every single day. And no matter where it ends up, no matter where YouTube ends up, no matter where Ladielauv, my business, ends up, at least I know that I did the things I said I always wanted to do. And until I did those things, I wouldn't know if they were right or not. So if Ladielauv doesn't end up always being a thing forever, or doesn't become this big successful thing or business, at least I tried and I got the feeling like it's good for me or not. Because you might do something that you always thought you wanted to do and then it didn't end up being how you thought it was going to be, but at least you know that and you're not sitting there thinking, like still thinking you wanted to do it. So it's kind of what I've learned through this is you never know like the next step unless you just start on the first step, the first thing. So yeah, 2 things down, right, out of the 3. And then that's when I also joined Orange Theory as well. And that's been huge in helping me grow, helping me become stronger and healthier. And not even in the physical or the health aspect of it, it also helped me realize that I can like go and do new things that I'm kind of scared of. Like my boyfriend's not really into like working out or anything, so I went there by myself, signed up, you know, went to my first class, met people, whatever, like all myself. So it gave me the confidence to do something I was fearful of, that then was able to help me in other aspects of my life. Like when you start advocating for yourself and start doing things that you're scared of, it helps in other aspects of your life to continue to do those things. Because then you just start like, you realize like, oh, I can do that, so what else can I do? So yeah, so basically at that time, I kind of took like a mental breakdown to finally do the things I wanted to do. And that is what led me to here. So it's like a year later from starting all these things. Ladielauv is still teensy, but it's been super fun. I've learned so much. It's finally morphing into what I want it to be. I don't even know if I had a clear vision of it. I think I thought I did when I started it, but I didn't actually come to the realization of what I wanted it to be until I just kept making tweaks and changing it up and learning and whatever. So now I feel like it's turning into something that I actually am really proud of. When I look back at like my first like rings that I made and everything, I almost get kind of embarrassed because they're like, I don't feel like they're that cute or that good looking or whatever, but I was not fully like knowing what the heck I was doing and I didn't have like a very clear vision, but all I knew was like I just needed to start. And so I'm glad I did, because just starting led me to where I am now. And then now on YouTube, of course it takes time, and I'm just trying to enjoy the ride. But I mean, 360 something people is not a small number at all. I don't take that lightly, but I never would have had that if I didn't just start. And now the consistency with going to Orange Theory, as of right now, I'm kind of like, I feel like a little over the very hard, intense workouts. Like I'm ready to maybe pivot into something a little less intense, but I've gained so much knowledge about like what I can do and where my limits are and what your body's capable of and stuff like that. So the consistency through that, like I'm definitely way more stronger, way more healthy than I've ever been. And you know, you look back and like the amount of like gains you make and stuff at the time doesn't feel like that much, but when you look back and you just stuck to it for just a freaking year, it's crazy how much you can do. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. Also, another part of this now is I said in my last vlog that we're moving back. So I'm not moving back to my hometown, but my hometown and La Crosse are very close. So we're moving back to La Crosse after our lease here is done in the summertime. I think we both feel like the time here has just, you know, run out. We don't like it enough to stay years and years. So we're kind of like, if we know that we don't like it enough, let's go back and regroup. Also, like I said in my past vlog too, with Ladielauv, all the opportunities, obviously I have a lot more connections back in La Crosse, so the opportunities just keep coming up. I get invited to do markets. I know a lot of the small businesses there, so there it just makes more sense. I have more connections and I'm going back all the time. My boyfriend's going back all the time. It just makes sense to be back there, at least for a little bit. So kind of in a standstill of, we have like 5 months left here. But yeah, our next plans are going back to La Crosse, and I think we're both excited, and you definitely get an appreciation of kind of where you came from when you leave. And I also feel like I'm so thankful that we did move to Madison, because that helped me. Again, like when you do things that scare you, it just rolls into other things that you end up doing that scare you, because you realize you did the first thing and now you can do the next thing too. So our leap of moving here gave me the confidence to start YouTube, to start my business, to join a gym, to do other things that I don't know if I'd ever would have taken the leap to do if I wouldn't have just like gotten away and gotten out of where I was at. It just helps you get a new perspective to move away, even though it's only like 2 hours, and just get out of like where you're comfortable and get a different perspective. So definitely thankful for us moving here. No regrets or anything. So that brings us to today. Whenever I do any kind of talkative video, I talk for way longer. And it's funny because people usually call me quiet. So I hope you enjoyed getting ready with me and learning some things about me. So now you at least know more about me. If you subscribe, if you watch my videos, I would love to get to know you. So in the comments below, tell me about yourself, at least like where you're from or what you like to do in your spare time, your hobbies, what you do for work, whatever you want. I would love to get to know you. But I will stop talking. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more videos from me and maybe some more very long talks. But I will see you tomorrow for another Vlogmas video. Bye.